Right, welcome back to the channel, new video. This video is going to be on the coolant system. It's going to be quite a long video, guys, because there's a lot of detail, there's a lot of things I want to cover in this video. I had a few issues with the coolant system, so I'm going to show you what they were and how I've hopefully remedied those issues. So as a lot of you know, these things run inherently hot. The Duratec 3 litre V6 runs quite hot, so I think the coolant system is, especially important, and it does really need to be in good condition. So yeah, what you'll also notice just before the video starts, guys, I'm doing a lot of work on this thing, a lot of other jobs, not just the coolant system. So yeah, what you'll notice is some of the footage, you'll see the subframe in place, for example, and then the next bit of footage, the subframe will be out. Same with the gearbox, so just bear that in mind. I'm all over the place a little bit. I'm doing quite a few jobs, quite a few extra jobs than what I first mentioned in my intro video, front end intro. Things has grown legs basically, and I'm doing other work. I found other issues as I've been stripping things and taking things apart, so it's going to be expected. It's 20 years old, this thing, so not bothered. I love it. This is my hobby. I don't go fishing, don't play golf, that's boring. Anyway, yeah, so this is what I'm all about, and showing you guys, take you guys along for the ride, show you what the crack is, what my issues are, what I'm finding, and how I'm getting it put right. So like I said, it's going to be a long video, guys, so I'll shut up and let's get on with it. Alright, now I got the loom disconnected underneath. I'm going to have a go at getting this fan pack out, if that's what you want to call it. But first of all, I'm going to take this coil pack out. 3 8mm bolts, easy enough, straightforward enough. I've already unplugged the HT leads, as you can see, and obviously just make a note of what HT leads go where before we start unplugging stuff, if it's not already identified. So yeah, you've got this little noise suppressor thing, I think it's called. Another 8mm bolt with a earth strap. It's going from the block, or from one of the studded bolts on the cam cover fixings, directly to the bracket. So there's that little suppressor thing I'm talking about. I think that's what it is anyway. So once you've undone these 3 8mm bolts, like I said, the whole fan pack come out with the bracket. So once that's out of the way, I'm looking at getting the fan pack out now. That one there might be best to get out of your way. It just unclips, easy enough. Dipstick out of the way. So there's 2 10mm nuts, one down there and one down there either side. I've already got mine out, but yeah, they should come out fairly easy. But yeah, so once you've got those out, just lift it up off the fixings, and what you might have to do is drop the fan pack down on one side. Out. Right, so as you can see, taking the fan pack out is giving me a lot more room to mess about with that radiator. Probably didn't need to do it this way, to be honest with you. It's just the way I'm doing it, but yeah, it's just giving me a lot more room. It's just made access a lot clearer down there for a lot of things. So I want to drain the coolant system while the subframe's still in place, because the radiator actually sits on brackets that are attached to the subframe. So as soon as I drop that subframe and those brackets, I've lost all the fixings and stuff for the bottom of the bottom of the radiator. Is going to be flopping around all over the place. So I'll get underneath and show you what I mean in a minute. So underneath the car, obviously rad, and as you can see, a bit more room now. So these are the brackets I'm talking about. This pin here is actually part of the radiator. That's a radiator pin, and it sits in these brackets as a rubber mounting there. So like I said, as soon as I drop the subframe in this bracket, which is bolted to the subframe, I'm going to lose the fixings, I'm going to lose the support for the bottom of the rad, and it's going to be all over the place. And the reason I want it supported is because this one here is the lower radiator fitting. There's a little clip that's got to be taken out. Just about see the metal there, that. So that clip needs to come out. Once the clip's out, you can pull it apart, but pulling it apart is easier said than done. But I got a little trick for that, so we'll have a go at that in a minute. Right, so I've undone the top hose, and I've started undoing the little 10mm bolts now on the brackets for these radiator brackets. So they were originally 8s, but I've changed mine for 10s. So the last 2 remaining are in now. I'm going to try and do this without getting more coolant all over the place, which I doubt I'm going to be able to do. This is going to go everywhere, I just know it. Right, so that's that bracket out of the way. Passenger side, just the driver's side now. What I haven't done is undone the AC coil. So the AC coil pack bolts onto the front of the radiator. Again, a couple of these 8mm bolts. Right, that's the other one. So, with a bit of luck, that's now free from the coil pack. The AC coil pack, that is. So, I need to support that, don't I? Yes, I do. I've had to just support the AC coil above with a couple of tie wraps. I've just taken off a little coolant hose as well up there, so none of it too difficult. So I'm just going to remove this last bracket now, and hopefully this radiator comes straight out. That's giving me so much more room now to get up to that front cat. All the rest of the coolant hoses, etc. Loads of room. So I'm going to check that radiator out now and see how much crap's in it. Right guys, I've been smashing into it yet again. So I'm just trying to get a few of these coolant pipes out of the way. And what I've been doing is just opening stuff up and draining it, because I don't want coolant flying everywhere while I'm trying to film at the same time. So I think I got most of it. So as you can see, I've unbolted the thermostat housing. I've taken the thermostat out and had a look at that, give that a good inspection. So what I'm going to try and do is get this pipe out. It runs across the front of the engine under the head. That'll come out along with the pipe that goes up to the expansion vessel and down to the bottom radiator fitting. You can just see it down there, look, it goes down. So I got one more nut to go out there on that side, on that left hand side, for the fixing for that pipe, that steel pipe, and then all that will come out. And then I've taken some spring clips off and Jubilee clips, all the rest of it. So hopefully all this will come out. This will all be out of my way in a minute, hopefully. Please, no more coolant. No more coolant everywhere. A little bit. That's all right. That's not too bad. Right, so now with a bit of luck, right, so as you can see, I got the rad out of the car. I tried filming it while I was actually doing it, guys, but again I've lost footage. I thought it was recording and I wasn't, so I'll just show you quickly now. There's no drain plug on the bottom of these things, so what most people do is use that bottom fit in there to drain the system. It's the lowest part on the system. So first of all, little clip there, pull that clip out, that's easy enough. And then from this side, I think I've usually done it, I'd put heat on that. I'd heat this plastic part of the fitting up, get it nice and warm, either a hairdryer or heat gun. Spend a bit of time warming that up all the way around. You know, not too much, but go careful not to melt anything, obviously. But once you've heated it up, get a pry tool in between the actual housing of the rad itself and the end of that fitting, sort of on this edge here. You can see where I'm pointing. Get it in there like that, and then twist and lever it off. Now, I've just made that look really easy, but honest to God, I struggled with that in the past. And the reason is because there's a rubber O-ring up inside of there. I don't know if you can see it, but that fits extremely tight on the end of there. It needs to form a seal, but it gets dried out over the years, so you need to break that seal, and it's easier said than done. But yeah, a bit of heat and gently levering it with a pry tool like I just did, and that should be a lot easier, although you probably still will struggle a little bit. But yeah, good luck with that. Right, so next I want to get all this out of the way. Give me better access to that gearbox, bell housing underneath, the bolts. So as you can see, the top fitting's already off. This pipe that goes over to the expansion vessel is pretty much off. I've loosened the Jubilee clip down there, don't know if you can see, and also I've taken the spring clip off there. So again, what I do, little pry tool underneath the rubber. Any fittings like this is what I like to do, just make life easy for yourself. Stops you sort of like putting too much force on things. Just lift that rubber up, get your pry tool in there and just work that WD in. It'll be a little bit difficult to do it on this one, but I'll give it a go. Especially on these plastic fittings, because I can't imagine these plastic fittings are going to be too strong now. They're probably going to be a little bit weak in their old age. Right, see if I've done enough. Yeah, I got movement on that one. Yes, yes. There we go, and it's out. Right, this is a little cut-in to assist, to aid the coolant system video, because there was little bits I forgot to film, so I'm going to try and cover it now. So I think from the last footage you saw me removing all this here. So that's quite straightforward enough. You've got this little pipe here which goes across to your expansion vessel. Expansion vessel's held on by a couple of bolts. There's one down there and there's one at the top there as well, easy enough. But yeah, that little hose that comes out, pulls off. Just loads of spring clips, guys, do you know what I mean? That's all it is. It's dead easy. That there. So yeah, just start taking it all off bit by bit. Getting out your way. There's another little pipe there that goes to the top of the rad. Rad is out, as you've seen from the previous footage, I hope. So that comes out. Like I said, the expansion vessel comes out easy enough, look. Just those two bolts. And again, like I said, I think the last bit of footage I showed you, I was getting these two fittings off just there. So yeah, let's get out of the way. So that big one there is your top rad hose. I think I showed you, so that goes to the, it's gone, that one there, it just fell down. Yeah, there he is, look. So that one goes on the expansion vessel on there, look, and that's your bottom radiator hose. So again, easy enough. Well, that bottom radiator hose was a bit of a pain because like I said, that's where a lot of people drain the system, but it's quite difficult to get off. I think I covered that, I thought I'm going to. So yeah, this big one here, guys, once this one's out of the way, it'll open things right up for you. So these two fittings here, I think I showed getting off using the old pick and WD-40 trick. It works a treat. I highly recommend it. So yeah, once you got those two off, all that comes out as a oneerlet. So that's out your way. So there you go. See, it opens it all right up a bit now. So you've got this plastic fit in here. Again, I think I showed this. There's your water pump there. And the water pump belt. So that belt is obviously loose because I've had it off. Once you undo the bolts for the water pump, I'll cover that in a minute, that belt comes loose easy enough. So this plastic fit in here, you've got one that goes to the heater matrix. The other heater matrix pipe is this one here, which goes down to the oil cooler pipe assembly, which I'll cover in a minute. That's the main crux of this little bit of a cutting video I'm doing. So yeah, like I said, just more clips, more of these spring clips, guys. That's all it is. It's quite easy, he says. So just get all the hoses off. That one there, like I said, goes down to your oil cooler pipe assembly. Just get all these little bits of hose out of the way and it just clears. As you can see, the gearbox already a bit of a spoiler, but yeah, don't look at that for a minute, forget about that. So yeah, that hose there is a little bit dark down there, I don't know if you can see, but that hose there comes off of the water pump, and you've got another hose there that goes to a fitting in there which was all corroded. I'll show you that in a bit. If I can get that off now I will, but I think I've pushed it right on there properly. So let me get this plastic fitting off a minute if I can, and then again it opens it up a little bit more, if you see what I mean. Every time you start taking stuff off, like big bits especially, obviously it gives you that much more access and room, and you can see what you're doing. So I've got a new one of these. These are quite easy to get hold of. I got Phoebe Bilstein. So that's that out of the way. There you go. That's all that is. There's your coolant temperature sensor there. So yeah, make sure I don't lose that bolt. But I think I paid 16 quid. I think I mentioned that. So they're quite easy to get hold of. So now you're just left with the two matrix pipes. I'll show you how I flush that in a minute. The water pump is on now. I had issues with the water pump. That was a brand new water pump going back in 2021, original Ford, genuine Ford. Cost me quite a bit of money actually, and one of the last on the shelf. Anyway, right, the crux of what I'm getting around to showing you now is underneath the car. So let's get underneath. Right, so here we are underneath. So this is the oil cooler. I've got the filter off. This is the oil cooler assembly pipes that I'm talking about. Silicone hoses, which I fitted. There's your water pump up there. So basically what I would do, oh, the front cat's out of the way as well, by the way, so that's quite a biggie. I think it's so much easier. I don't think I know. A lot of people talk about doing these oil cooler pipes with the cat in place, and that's fair enough if the cat's not been off the car for a long time, you know, etc. You don't want to take it off, what have you, for whatever reason, but you're going to struggle. So inside this oil cooler, oh, we're back again, we've got a flicker going. There's a hex fitting. It's just a bit of a strange size that. I don't know if it might be imperial, but basically what I'm getting around to saying is I think the easiest and best way to get all this off is to just undo this fitting, that hex fitting there. I think it's between a H12 and a H14 hex bit, but the H12 is loose and the hex 14 won't quite go in. Anyway, I used the 12. I think the 12 is too loose. So look, it might be an imperial size. I think it is imperial size. So basically what I'm saying is if you get that off, get this hose off as well that goes up to your water pump. Get that off. Get this fitting out here. You can already see it's coming loose, look. So all that then will come off. And that's all that out your way in one hit. Look at that. So much room. Now really, all that's left is that pump. So I'll show you that now. Okay, so there's the pump. It's only actually got 3 bolts holding that to the block. So once the fixing bolts are out for the pump, that one there, and that one there, the belt will actually go on to that pulley and come off really easy. So I'll just show you a minute, I think, if I can. So there you go, look. So the pump's all loose now, and that makes that belt dead easy to get on and off. Obviously now, once the bolts are undone and the pump is loose, you should be able to just pull it off of those hoses. Again, if it's not been off for years, guys, I don't know if you can quite see there. See that fit in there underneath? Look, that's what's stopping it from coming out at the moment. So yeah, if you wanted to, you could probably try and take that fitting off there. Let me see if I can do that. And again, there you go. Right, so that's it off. I've just made that look a lot easier than what it's going to actually be for you. If this has never all been apart before for a long time, you're going to struggle with those fittings and stuff. But like I say, use the pick and the WD-40 trick. Alright, so I think that's about it. I think that's about all I missed. I hope. So I've got footage of replacing that fitting there. I can show you the old one. It's pretty corroded, quite bad. So I didn't actually film getting that out. But what I did was I just got a blunt chisel and a screwdriver, to be fair, and I hammered in that direction. It's quite thin, this. It's not that substantial. So yeah, I just hammered in that direction, and it all sort of like collapsed in on itself, you know what I mean? And it took the tension off where it fits in that cast in there, that alloy casting, because that is a really tight fit in there. I used some red stud lock just to make sure it don't go anywhere, hopefully, he says. So yeah, like I said before, there's your 2 heater matrix pipes. I'll show you how I flush that in a minute. And what else? I think that's it. I got a new plastic fitting. I've cleaned all this up, the holes. I've got a new plastic fitting for that. I've cleaned all the hoses out. But yeah, just if I haven't already said so, just carry on watching the video and I'll show you some of the problems I've had with this coolant system, and I think it's worthwhile mentioning to you guys. Make sure you don't fall into the same traps as what I did, because it could cause you quite a few headaches. Okay, so more coolant issues. I was just looking at how I was going to go about flushing the block out. This plastic coolant flange didn't look too clever to me, so I whipped it off. I've just placed it back on so you can see where it goes, but so basically lets the coolant go between each side of the two heads, if you see what I'm saying. So obviously it's been sealed before in the past. Those seals are not looking clever at all. They're just flat. Look, I don't know if you can see the rubber seal in there. It's just flat. So I've got a new one of those on order. That's easy enough. Not a problem. But what I have found is this fit in here. So learn from my mistake, guys. Do not use tap water when you're flushing your coolant system. Do not leave any tap water in the system. The amount of corrosion in there, look. So that's what was giving me all the discoloured coolant, that and the pipe that goes underneath there across the engine. So yeah, coolant only, guys, no tap water, otherwise your components will start rotting. Any still components on the coolant system will just rot like no one's business. Okay, so as I showed in the previous footage, I got that old fitting out. I've been waiting for this from Ford. They did tell me they were out of stock, but suddenly it turned up. I had a message saying it had been dispatched, and next thing I knew it turned up, so all good. 60 quid though, these things, just for that. So basically I've cleaned that up. I've cleaned the hole up, brake cleaner and all the rest of it. I'm going to use some of that stud lock on there, and I'm going to tap that in. But what I've done, so I've got a block of wood that fits in nicely, so I've drilled it the same hole size, the same dimensions as the barbed end of that. So I didn't fancy putting anything on that edge hard, you know. I was just a little bit concerned it was going to damage it, because it is all very tight. This is a very tight fit. I've already had a test run, so basically got that so it fits nicely in there, snug. So hopefully that is going to spread the load now. Right, so there we go. It's all in there nice and tight. Like I said, hopefully that's going to spread the load on the end of that fitting, on the end of that barbed fitting, and it's not going to damage anything, he says, hopefully. I hope not. Anyway, 60 quid. So bit of bearing and stud lock. Shouldn't need too much, I don't think, I hope. Right, let's do it. I think he's only in, that's all. Yeah, I've only been and done it. Great success. So yeah, that's all I did with that block of wood. Drilled that out. That's two different size hole saws I put in there. I can't remember exactly what sizes it was. I think it was 36 and 38. Yeah, that fits on lovely on there. It like spreads the load, do you know what I mean? So you're not putting any impacts on this edge here. New filter. This is probably the 5th or 6th filter now I've used. I got a little bit fed up with the old method, so basically what I'm doing is running the outlet hose from my pump, from my drill, putting the outlet hose through a filter, paint filter, and then the inlet hose is just sat in the bucket, obviously, as you can see, so I don't have to keep emptying the bucket. But surprised at how much shit's coming out of this matrix. I don't know if you can see, but it's all dissolving on the inside of that filter. It's minimal, absolutely minimal, so I'm not going to worry too much. I might do a few more. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. I think the light makes it worse than it. But yeah, a few tiny little bits. I might go one more filter and call it a day on the matrix. But next I'm going to flush the block out. Right, so I've just done lots and lots of flushes with deionized water, a mixture of deionized water and radiator flush or coolant system flush. Quite a strong mix actually, but a strong mix because it says in the instructions for that flush you're supposed to get the engine up to operating temperature 90 degrees C, so I'm not able to do that. So what with, you know, the mix being, the concentration being quite high, and giving it lots and lots of flushes with the old drill pump, filtering it, etc., as you saw, that should be sufficient, I think, more than sufficient. So now I would just want to make sure I get the remainder of the coolant flush, the additive flush, out of the matrix, and I'm going to flush it with the coolant, the correct spec coolant. Right, as you can see, it's It's all a bit of a bodge, but I think I've got this set up so I'm not going to get any leaks for flushing the block, both sides of the block at the same time. So as you saw earlier, I've got that fitting out there, and I've got a bit of hose pipe stuffed in there at the moment, so hopefully that won't leak. I've refitted this plastic flange fitting, I think they call it. I got a new one of those on order, I think I've said that, but I've blocked up that port there, and I've got a bit of pipe there going onto a bit of hose pipe. So basically I've got a circuit on the block. I've got my little pump down below. Yeah, so there's my pump. So I'm going to be doing the same as I did with the Matrix. Basically I'm going to be cycling the distilled water and the radiator flush through the block and filtering it at the same time. Got leakage. Yeah, I've got leakage. Oh well, it's gonna get wet. What we got so far? A bit, not too bad. Let's keep going with that filter a bit, I think. There is stuff coming out, but it's not an awful lot. I don't think it's half as bad. The block isn't half as bad as the Matrix, because the Matrix is quite a low part on the system, so naturally I think that's where a lot of rubbish would accumulate. But I'll keep going for a little bit longer. Got leakage. Why is that? Why is that leaking? It's not leaking before, but we have got leakage. Right, so before I finish the video, I just want to go through a couple of things quickly, just to explain myself a bit better than what I did in the footage that I took. So there's the main culprit. That's the steel pipe that runs across the front of the engine, and as you can see, that's corroded quite badly, all inside as well. That and the fitting that you saw me taking out the small fitting that I tapped in with the block of wood, that was similar. That's what gave me the rusty coloured looking coolant, and most of it collected in the bottom of there, to be honest. It's like almost like a sludge in the bottom of there, like a brown sludge. So I was quite surprised to see all that, but it did clean out quite well actually, so I was happy about that, because that expansion vessel is genuine Ford brand new, going back in 2021. So yeah, I was quite happy to save that. Same with the pump. I was a little bit concerned with that, but that seems fine. That was brand new, going back in 2021. There's the new plastic coolant flange I was talking about, Phoebe. See if I can get you a part number. I think that's the part number there. I'm not 100%, but it's decent. They're quite easy to get hold of, like I said. There's the old one there. All the seals they've had it. So yeah, worthwhile changing that if you're going to be doing similar to what I'm doing. Also, the thermostat. So that's the old one on the right. There's a new one, Gates. They're both Gates, but I just thought because of my issues, all that, corrosion and shit floating around the coolant system, I thought I'd just change it. So there's the part number there on the box. I don't know if you can see that. Same with the oil cooler, Nissens. That's it there. That's the new cooler. I'm just a bit, excuse what's going on here with I'm just a bit undecided whether to go with the genuine Ford rubber coolant hoses for the oil cooler or the silicone ones. So the reason I'm questioning it is because the silicone ones actually were showing signs. I don't know if I can show you. They were actually seeping, so all the string reinforcing was like going pink, if you see what I'm saying. Anyway, yeah, so I'm not too sure. I might reuse those. I might put a genuine, but is that one that fails, as you all know. That's the one that goes up to the water pump. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're going to be fine for a few years. They're brand new. So there's the old oil cooler, look, again, all this black cooked on oil inside the engine. There's my new steel water pipe goes across the front of the engine. What else? Just be aware when you take, if you're going to be taking this pump off, if it's never been off before, these plastic fittings, this is actually plastic, they got a tendency to snap these things right there where it goes into the alley casing of the pump housing. So yeah, just be a little bit careful. I mean, if it's going to go, it's going to go, do you know what I mean? You're not going to be able to stop it, but just be prepared. That's what I'm saying, because they have got a reputation. They got a pretty good reputation for snapping those things. They used to be difficult to get hold of. You can get them on Amazon now. They're gates, Chinese gates, but I think they're all right, to be fair. There's not too many bad reports on them. There's quite a big market for them because of the States, because this pump is used on the V6. That's used quite commonly in the States. So yeah, I think they're 68 quid something. So I'm thinking about buying one myself, to be honest, just as a spare. So yeah, I'm also going to be replacing the rad. I didn't think there was much point in keeping that. He's seen better days and he's been a rad for too long. So these are the fixings that I was talking about. So that one there and that one there, it's like a square head bolt that slides in there, and then a 10mm nut tightens onto the rad pack, which goes in front. A couple of brackets on the rad pack where lines up with that. There's the bracket it slides into down there. Look, where are we to? Yeah, just there. Goes on there, and then equally around the other side. It was difficult to show this at the time, but this is the AC coil. Sorry, the AC coil that goes on this side, and again there's brackets that it slides onto, and then the fixings go through there, or is it there? Sorry, there. Those 8mm bolts I was talking about. That's all. There's nothing difficult. It's just fiddly. That's all, guys. But yeah, as you can see, he's been a radiator for too long. So Nissens, I think you can get them for just over a $1 on the bay. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to stick a new one because, you know, just to be on the safe side, I don't want to get all this back together again and find out. Anyway, I'm waffling. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do give us a like, give us a thumbs up, lads, because it does help me out. I'm just a little struggling YouTube channel, and subscribe if you can. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it useful. Hope it was useful to someone, and yeah, we can all learn from each other. That's what all this is about. So see you in the next one.